The first time I saw her, I had blood on my hands. Alien blood, her kind. The battlefield reeked of ozone and scorched metal, bodies strewn across the ruined plains of Eltaris IV. Our forces, Earth's unified Terran defense, had pushed the Thalnari back at a terrible cost. She stood amid the ruins of her fallen unit, her lavender skin marred with soot, her bronze armor cracked. Her weapon was gone, and her 6 fingers were raised in surrender. But her eyes held no fear, only curiosity. I should have shot her. Protocol said we weren't to take prisoners. But instead I found myself lowering my rifle. "What's your name?" I asked, panting. Her mouth opened slightly, as if surprised. "Captain Zirathel, of the Thalnari Vanguard. And I'm Lieutenant Marcus Hale." I don't know why I told her. Maybe because it felt wrong not to. She didn't look at the carnage around us. She looked at me. "Why didn't you kill me, Marcus Hale?" I didn't know the answer. Maybe I still don't. We took her back to base under heavy guard, but in the days that followed, I visited her cell more than I should have. I claimed it was for intel. She knew better. The war between our species had been going on for 5 years. It started with a miscommunication, as most wars between civilizations do. We colonized a moon they considered sacred. They retaliated. We escalated. Now it was full-blown interstellar warfare. But in that holding cell, behind energy bars, Zirathel was no longer a Thalnari commander. She was a woman, sharp-tongued, graceful, and maddeningly perceptive. "You humans kiss with your mouths," she mused once, after a long silence between us. I chuckled. "That's correct. We do not. We press our forehead ridges together. It is more intimate." She tilted her head. "Would you let me show you someday?" She said it like a joke. Like she wasn't an enemy. Like I wasn't the one holding her future in my hands. And I, fool that I am, I said, "Maybe." That maybe turned into clandestine meetings, hushed talks about peace, culture, art, love, and war. She told me of her twin moons and how she used to fly without armor in low orbit as a rite of passage. I told her of oceans and the time I lost my brother in the first orbital assault. "I regret this war," she said one night, her fingers brushing the energy barrier between us. "We should have spoken before we fired. But now," her voice trailed off. "Now we're enemies," I finished for her. She nodded. "And yet, I do not wish to be yours." There was a long silence before she added, "I wish to be yours in another way." I swallowed hard. "What are you saying?" She looked directly into my eyes. "I wish to bond. To marry. Human." It would have been easy to laugh. A defense mechanism. But I didn't. Because in her voice, I heard sincerity. In her gaze, a dangerous truth. She meant it. "But you're a prisoner. And we're at war." He smirked. "Exactly. If I wanted to manipulate you, I would have done so already. I've had opportunities. But I want you. Not as a tactic. As a choice." I leaned in close to the barrier. "You really think this could work?" "No," she whispered. "But I want to try." I broke every protocol in the book. Arranged her transfer from the cell to protective custody. We trained together, studied linguistics, used translation implants to bridge the cultural gaps. Our fingers, so different, learned to hold each other. Rumors spread fast in base. "Lieutenant Hale's sleeping with the enemy," they sneered. "He's gone native." But the higher-ups noticed something else. Zyra gave us intel. Not through coercion but through conviction. She wanted the war to end. She wanted peace. So did I. So when the brass offered a secret assignment, an envoy mission to the Thalnari High Command under flag of truce, they sent us both. Her as a prodigal daughter returned. Me as her escort and human liaison. And her proposal. It was now official diplomatic leverage. If they see us bond, she explained aboard the shuttle. If they see a Thalnari warrior choosing a human, perhaps it changes something. Perhaps it shows them war is not the only path. And if it doesn't, yes, she smiled. Then we get married anyway. Climax. The Thalnari did not greet us with open arms. We landed in their capital, an obsidian megastructure hanging above their twilight world. Their chancellor, a gnarled elder named Sovrek, viewed me with utter disdain. You bring us the scent of blood, Sovrek spat. And wear the garb of our killers. Zyra stepped forward undaunted. I bring you something else, Chancellor. I bring you love. They laughed. Every council member. High cold mocking laughter. I thought it was over. But then she reached out and pressed her forehead to mine, an ancient gesture of bonding. Silence fell. I wish to marry this human, she said boldly. Here. Before your eyes. Not for war. For peace. Sovrek rose from his throne. You shame your ancestors. No, she replied. I honor them by choosing my path. He approached us, a tower of authority and wrath. Do you understand what she means to us, human? She is the sword of the twilight, a commander born of stars and fire. And she would marry the spawn of earth. I do, I said. He looked at me with venom. Why? Took a breath. Because she chose to see me. Not as a soldier. Not as an enemy. But as someone worth knowing. And I saw her the same way. That's what peace is built on. Not treaties. Not threats. Just two people choosing something better. The chamber buzzed with disapproval. But Sovrek raised a hand. Then let the fires judge you, he declared. Face the trial of unity. If you survive together, we will consider your bond legitimate. And your plea for peace. Zyra squeezed my hand. It is an ancient right, she whispered. We must cross the fire caverns alive. Bound. If we fall or separate, the union is void. Perfect, I muttered. Space lava and relationship counseling. What could go wrong? Ending. The fire caverns were a hellscape. Sulfur vents. Collapsing rock bridges. Creatures that fed on pheromones and sweat. And all the while, a glowing tether of biofiber bound our wrists. Separation of more than a meter would trigger paralysis in both parties. We have to trust each other, Zyra shouted over a geyser blast. I'm trusting you not to drag me into molten death. We slipped, stumbled, argued, and pulled each other up again. I burned my leg. She got bit by a scale leech. But step by painful step we made it. The final ledge she fell. Could have let go. But I jumped with her. Our arms tangled. We crashed into a slope of obsidian glass. The tether held. We lived. And when we emerged, blackened and bruised, the council was waiting. Sovrek studied us silently. You would suffer for one another, he said at last. Perhaps that is enough. He turned to the others. Let the bond be witnessed. Let the plea be heard. And so we married. Not in gowns or garb, but in scars and defiance. Prologue. 2 years later the war ended. Not because of us alone, but because others followed. More unions, more bonds, more trust. Zyra and I now teach at the Interstellar Peace Academy on Luna Station. We tell our story to cadets who once knew only hate. Sometimes when the stars are quiet, she presses her forehead to mine. You were never my enemy, she whispers. And I smile. You were always my home.